Hi, welcome to Barb's Book Spot. Hi, welcome to Barb's Book Spot. The books I want to share with you today are designed more for the younger crowd, I would say K through 3. But what I like about them is that they have, maybe I would say they would resonate with anybody all the way up through adulthood because they provide us a mirror and a lens for looking at literature. I think you'll hear people say we want children to be able to see themselves in the book. I think these are perfect examples of books that children will be able to see themselves in. I think we as adults will be able to see ourselves in the book as well. The first book I have today is called Little Penguin Gets the Hiccups. It's by Tad Bentley, and it was published by Balzer and Bray, and that's a division of HarperCollins Publishers. All the books I have today are from 2015. Like many children's books, this one starts on the pages before the story. So if you see, the bowl says chili, and Little Penguin has eaten the chili. Something seems to be amiss here. And in the end, he looks distraught. So we need to find out what's wrong with Little Penguin. Now, we already know that Little Penguin has the hiccups. As far as those things that we can see ourselves, where we can attach to in the book, we see some penguins playing cards, we see some penguins fishing, we see some chili peppers. There are other things in the books, in the detail, that I think children will latch onto, that little ones especially will notice as they're looking at the pictures. Oh, hello! It's so nice to meet you. Franklin said you would be here soon. I like that the penguin is talking directly to us. He's speaking to me, the reader. I wonder if you might be able to help. You may have noticed I've got a terrible case of the hiccups. It's driving me crazy. It all started last week on chili night. Now, I think this book has a lot of room for audience participation and reader participation. You can ham it up. You can really make it come alive for your listeners. So Little Penguin is looking for a way to get rid of his hiccups. Never give chili to a penguin, he says. And the book goes on to show us all the different ways he's trying to get rid of them. Nothing works until finally he says, it's up to you. You have to help me. Franklin, we don't know who Franklin is yet, told me I need to be scared. You need to scare me. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Now, at this point, you might have your listeners all say boo or something to see if they can scare that penguin. There it is. It didn't work. And we go through a few pages where it didn't work until we get finally to the distraught, oh, will I ever get rid of the hiccups page? And we think all is lost. Now, I'm not going to tell you how it ends. He does eventually find a way to get rid of his hiccups. And in the very end, he decides to celebrate. And here we meet Franklin with Franklin, and they have tacos. It's taco night to celebrate the loss of hiccups. And look at the final end papers. They look very much like the opening end papers, except this time instead of a bowl of chili, we have a taco. And then we see the same pattern of body language. I bet you can guess what happened to Little Penguin after he finished his taco. I think this one will be a big hit with the little ones. And I think we all know what it feels like to have the hiccups that we could not get rid of. The next book I'd like to share with you is a little more serious. It's called I'm New Here. It's by Anne Sibley O'Brien, and it was published by Charles Bridge Publishers. We find 3 children in this book. One is from, I'm going to just read the end paper here for you. Back in Guatemala, Maria knew the language. Back in Korea, Jin could read and write. Back in Somalia, Fatima felt like she fit in. So those are the 3 children, the 3 characters. What we find is that the book is so simple and so elegant, but I think we can all relate to that something new feeling. The time when I just don't feel comfortable, I'm not sure what to do next, I don't understand. And I think anytime we move our household, we go to a new school, we try a new game, we interact with new people. Even as adults, we feel those feelings. So we see them starting school. I'm new here. The children are coming in. And each child is introduced very simply. I am new here. And we see the teacher's voice in the thought bubble class. This is Maria. I am new here. Boys and girls, please welcome Jin. I am new here. We have a new student, everyone. Her name is Fatima. And the story goes on. The children feel very uncomfortable, and they're not sure if they're going to fit into this new setting. I chose to show you this page because I like the way the illustrator phonetically spelled all the words. This is what she's hearing. She's talking about having trouble understanding the language. Back home, I knew what people said, and I understood what they meant. So here we see may turn, come on, and come on is K-U-M-A-W-N. So all of these sounds that she's hearing, it's just a jumble. They're not meaning anything to her. A little bit later on, we meet Jin, and he's talking about the characters. Now, he's from an Eastern country, and probably the writing looks very different from where he grew up. They may have pictograph style or some kind of characters that don't look at all like our letters. So here are the new letters. They lie on the page like scribbles and scratches. All the windows and doors are shut tight. The windows and doors to his imagination. Now, I'm going to flip to the back because I just want to show you later on, when he starts to make sense of the letters, that same imagination cloud appears above his head. The windows and doors to his imagination are open once he starts unlocking the text and understanding. Now with Fatima, her problem is a little different. She's a perfectionist. She likes to do things right. She's a little bit shy, and she feels alone and confused. She doesn't know where she fits in. She's afraid she's going to do the wrong thing. We also learn she's artistic, and later on we find that she's able to share, let me get to the page here, with her artwork. She's sharing with the other children with their artwork, and they can communicate with pictures. Little by little, the children open up, they find ways to fit in, and at the very end, it's the beginning of a new home for them. They've found their community. I think this is a window into how others might feel, but I also think it's a mirror into how we ourselves might feel. And that building that empathy is really important. I know developmentally kids don't get that maybe in kindergarten or preschool, but little by little they start. The last book I'd like to share with you is called The Goodbye Book. And this is a little more serious, but it's so elegant. It's so elegant in its simplicity. It's by Todd Parr, and it was published by Little Brown, and again in 2015. Big, bold, bright colors, very little text, and I think lots and lots to latch onto. We see the two little fish, and we can guess that something's a little sad. The Goodbye Book. It's hard to say goodbye to someone. You might not know what to feel. You might be very sad. You might be very mad. The whole book goes on like that. Never do you hear the word grief or loss or stages of grieving. You don't hear any jargon. It's just plain and simple feelings. You might feel this, you might feel that, you might do this. First we go through all the feelings, and then a little bit later we talk about how we behave. You might stop eating. You might not feel like sleeping. We see that one little fish is missing and the other little fish is trying to carry on, trying to understand. Some coping strategies, that's the jargon. You might try to stop thinking about it. You might pretend it didn't happen. Eventually, you'll start to feel better, and you'll remember how you laughed. So we've gone from the feelings, the raw anger and emotion, to some ways to try to cope, to some, maybe I can see a little bit of positive, maybe remember a little bit of positive. You might feel like talking to someone. You might even feel like drawing a picture. Again, some coping strategies at a higher level. I'm able to not only remember, but now I can share. I can share my feelings. I can share my memories. That's another step along the way to healing. You might wonder where they went or what they're doing now. Most of all, you'll remember how much you love and miss them. And again, this is a higher level, an acceptance of this is how I'm going to feel now, and I might continue to feel this way for a long time. And then the very final page. We all get sad when we say goodbye to someone we love. Always try to remember all the happy times you shared together. The end. Love, Todd. What I like about this is that it can be used in the sense of the loss of a pet. It could be the loss of a grandparent. It could be death. It could be maybe moving and you've lost contact with your best friend. It could be a fight that you had and you've lost contact. Maybe you don't think you'll ever mend fences with that person. I think the stages of loss and grief are the same, and there may be intensity is different, but they're the same for all of those times we lose. And yet this book never preaches. It just plain out lays it for the child, and I think for all of us. So I hope that you enjoyed these 3 books today. Books that children, I think, can see themselves in, books that I think we can see ourselves in, and happy reading.